introduce you to my next guest, Luba Evans.
Hi, Cynthia. It's good to be here.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to share this platform with you. Let's tell the audience a little about Luba.
What would you like to know specifically?
I'm going to say a little bit, and then I'll let you come in with on the interview. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful.
Luba has the empowered womanhood. She is a NLP coach, a master love coach. She's been featured in the Harvard Business Expert as one of the world's top five leading love and dating coaches. Her specialty is helping successful, powerful women win in their dating life. She wants them to win the same way they win in business and career. She has worked with hundreds of women, helping them on their dates and helping them to not settle for an unexciting prospect. Luba is Russian born, so she can share her experience about that. And she has a former career as an international entrepreneur consulting clients like the United Nations and CNN, helping them to win in love faster, easier than they ever thought possible. And that's no matter what age or shape. So help me um, introduce and accept Luba. Luba, please tell our audience a little about you, what's going on with you, and why you're here, and how you can help us.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I hope your audience is ready for this because if anyone here is really ready to meet their partner and they get on a free consultation with me, this will just happen, just like it happens to 75% of my clients. So, yes, so I've worked as a dating coach for the last 4 years, but for the last 15 years, I've also been a tantra teacher, meditation teacher, and transformational coach. And so I worked a lot specifically with women, helping women to unleash their feminine magic and their feminine magnetism. And so now all this knowledge is being brought in together with hypnosis, NLP practices, and very deep knowledge of the dating scene that is actually pretty brutal right now. So all of this flows into my program, which is called Magnetic Woman Coaching Accelerator. It's a 3-month program.
Wait. Magnetic Women Coaching Accelerator. This is where you help women bring out their feminine and magnetism. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's an exciting journey for all of us, and for me in particular as well, because I just love seeing how women transform and how they step completely into their power, into their magnetic power, also into the power of love, while keeping safe boundaries, owning their worth, knowing how to say no, and when they say yes, it is a full-hearted yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Luba, tell us what has happened in your experience. What has your experience been? You told us that you worked in the career and in the dating um, industry for a while. But tell me a little bit about your background. I understand you're Russian. Tell me a little bit about that and why that is so important about to help you become the person that you are today. Tell us about that.
Yes, I believe it is important because the roots that we have are the source of our feminine power. So Russian women are very connected to nature and to their inner nature as well. And the Russian woman is an empowered woman, although she's able to be very feminine on top of that. And so sometimes if you see a Russian woman even serving in the army, you're going to see that she's wearing lipstick. Yeah. So Russian women have a tremendous power of attraction. If you've noticed, maybe like if you do a search on the internet for a Russian woman, that cost per click costs a lot. Yeah.
So tell us about some of the things that you do, maybe some of the retreats, some of the programs. What are some of the things that you do to help women bring out their magnetism and their femininity?
Yeah, sure. And thank you for asking about my retreat. Actually, I can show you right now. I'm sitting right here in this beautiful practice room. That's where I usually work with women.
Mm-hmm.
And did you want to know about the specific practices or approaches? What?
Well, just, yeah, give us some idea as to maybe some of the things that you do, maybe an example of some clients that you work with. Maybe you work with them for a while and then they ended up finding their love person. Maybe about a program you have. I think you're going to share with us a program that you have coming up that's online as well. So
Yes,
it's not it's in person as well as online.
yes.
So yeah, tell us a little bit of, so we get a good flavor of how you do what you do and how we might be connecting with you as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, so very often women come to me after they've tried other coaches and sometimes at the end of their rope. Basically, disappointed, hurt, disappointed by men, carrying a lot of trauma, not only from their past relationships, but also from their upbringing. And this is something, yes, and this is something that I call the love blueprint. So for
Love
men,
blueprint, the
yes,
love blueprint. Okay,
yes.
tell us about that. Yes, yes.
So for many women, and not just for women, for everyone, um, when a talented child is growing up, the child often does not receive the kind of love that they really need.
Mm.
And this child often is trying to win that love, sometimes by becoming a caretaker, a pleaser, shutting down their emotions, hiding their voice, losing parts of themselves in order to cope with the environment. And so, for a child like this, it becomes difficult to just love
Mm.
because when they loved, they were stabbed in their heart
Ah.
often many times, or sometimes in their back, which is even more challenging. And yet, they were still loving their parents or maybe their siblings. And so, for many, love becomes entangled with pain.
Mm.
And
Wow.
so, yes, so when love becomes entangled with pain, we are naturally attracted to people who can bring it to us.
Wow. Bring the pain to us through the love. Is that what you're saying? Is that the attraction there?
Well, often women are not attracted to someone who is just really good and stable and trustworthy. And you know how everyone knows that certain, at least certain types of women are attracted to bad boys or emotional and available men or narcissists. So this
Yes.
this is specifically happening because in their love blueprint, love is entangled with pain. So unless they're getting that pain element, it's not
Mm.
interesting for them. It's boring. There's no attraction.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
So then you allow them to realize that that might be what's going on with them, this love pain attraction thing. And so then that's an opportunity to work with them to help them, first of all, recognize it, and then to have some solutions as to what to do when you recognize that behavior in yourself.
Yes,
That blueprint you're talking about.
absolutely. Yeah, recognition is definitely the first step. And then there's a series of very deep meditations, mind shifts,
Yes.
letting go of the beliefs that have not been serving you, beliefs about the unsafety of the world, for example, that obviously that belief is what many people carry, especially people who have been hurt in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of their life or in their previous relationship. The problem is once you carry a certain belief, like for example, that feminine is weak or that masculine is not trustworthy, or that I have to be a certain way to receive love, or that I have to adjust in a certain way to be loved. And if somebody sees me to the very end, they're going to not love me because deep inside, a lot of women feel that they are not worthy. And a lot of women feel and felt like they're not good enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
You know, I love the way you said that. That often when people are wanting love, they're afraid to really be themselves. The fear is that you won't love me. If you really knew the real me, you wouldn't love me. And so, what this often could cause would be some women do not have that self worth or feel they're not good enough. And that's all about what we're talking about when we say love ourselves radically. And so So talk about what we can do, women as women, when we find ourselves talking that way, feeling that way, expressing ourselves in a way of not good enough and not worthy. How do we go from that place to loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves and standing up and having the voice?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the ways is to show something that you've been hiding from the world
Mm-hmm.
and to be received and to be accepted and maybe even admired. And at first, it happens in a group of women, so that is very powerful.
Yeah.
Yes, it's incredibly powerful. Another way is to set boundaries, to speak your truth, set boundaries, and also see that, nobody died, the world is still there, it's okay. Yeah. But in order to set, yeah, but in order to set boundaries, first, we need to reconnect to what it is that we're really truly feeling. Because a lot of women, and not just women actually, men as
Yeah,
well.
women and men, but we're talking mainly about women. But it's both human beings, women and men. But we're saying women because of the empowered womanhood. But
Yeah,
it's both. Mm-hmm.
exactly. So a lot of women, yeah, what happened was that because the feelings were not honored, and also because in the patriarchy, feelings are not welcome. And in fact, a lot of women feel that feelings, feminine, is weak, that it is weak to have feelings. And of course, imagine if somebody had so many feelings they couldn't show up at work, or if somebody started screaming at their boss. I mean, the whole society is built on the fact that we have to shove our feelings down. Therefore, there is so many antidepressants. So instead of allowing people to feel, to dare to feel, to express themselves, to be in touch with their soul, all that the society is interested in doing is shutting them down through antidepressants even further. So a lot of women don't even know what they feel.
Mm. Wow,
Hmm.
that you really said something there. You really said something there. A lot of women, a lot of people do not even know what they feel.
Hmm.
They haven't,
Especially, yeah, go ahead.
they haven't taken the time to stop, to listen, to pay attention. They're following someone else's voice. They're following what society says. They're following what somebody told them. So that they're not taking the time to really stop and listen.
Exactly. Yes.
What does it? What do I need? How do?
Absolutely. What does my body need?
Yes.
And how do I want to be even loved?
Mm.
And what kind of pleasure do I want to receive? Most women do not know that. And then they're unable to lead men. They are unable to ask for help in an empowered and loving way. They're unable to know when it is time to set that boundary. And so, one of the things that we do is that we gather the power that we've given away to other people, we bring it back to ourselves. For example, when there is somebody else that you designate to be an authority on how you should be, you just leaked your power.
Yes. You
Okay?
just gave it away. You gave it away. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the process of healing of the love blueprint is recognizing where our power is distributed. And usually it expresses itself in the inner critic. So that inner critic could be your aunt or your grandmother, your mother, your father. It can be some lover that dumped you. It could be anyone who has been judging you, who's been basically judgmental of you. And so that inner critic, usually it's not your true soul voice. So you've given the power over yourself to some part of yourself, which is not even you.
Mm. Mm.
So when you designate yourself to be the last authority on who you are, what you're supposed to do in life, who you should be loving, what you should be doing with your life, this is when the power comes in. Of course, it comes with a price, like everything else. And the
Yes.
price, yeah, and the price could be loneliness in
The
some
price
sense. Well,
and the price is
yeah, the price is that you're going to feel kind of alone. Sovereign Queen is
yes.
alone.
Yes. Yes. So this is a I hear you. So the price is of often walking alone. because people may not agree with you, they may not understand, they may not know what it is. And so therefore this journey, this walk is yours. And that's what we're talking about to the audience right now. Yes, you're on this walk alone, you're on this journey alone, but there are people along the way who can support you, such as Luba and myself and other people like that. So you do have support, but you're walking that journey alone. You're walking that path alone. Yes, that's a great point to bring out. That you have to do it just. No one can do it for you. That's the point I would make. No one can do it for you. You have to do this yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at first it feels very scary because you cut off all the codependent relationships. You cut off all the weight, you cut off all the people who are not serving you anymore, people who are impeding your growth, people who do not see you in your highest light. All those safe, so to speak, connections that have been sustaining you. So you're absolutely right. What also happens, you take not only the authority on yourself, you also take responsibility and you walk this path alone. And you can create your own network and designate your own support staff, so to speak. It's like you are the captain of your own flying ship. And the crew of the ship, you hire, you fire. You are the bride.
That's spoken from an empowered woman.
Yeah.
Empowered women. Yes, yes, yes.
And it's exciting. And once that happens, and once you are fully rooted in your own happiness as a sovereign queen, then it is time, then you can afford to come into your softness actually and to appear in your feminine. Then when you have your own inner protector, it becomes safe to also show your tenderness because you know there is somebody inside of you who is going to protect that tenderness.
That's beautiful.
Does it make sense? Yeah. Because what I see in many, many women right now in the West is that they carry a huge shield. The shield is so strong that the woman appears unwelcoming or kind of maybe sitting on a high horse or just insecure and scared, whatever that is. But that shield is so strong that men do not approach her.
Right. They become unapproachable.
Yes, exactly. And they look unavailable. And especially right now, men are really scared to approach women. I hear it from everywhere, everywhere. And so on top of like the usual regular fear that men generally have, of course, because they're afraid to be rejected. Now on top of it, they're also afraid for some legal consequences, and women are carrying the shield. So the reason why they're carrying the shield is because they know that if they open up, what is inside is mushy. So you can see this woman who looks like a total bitch, and then all of a sudden she falls in love, merges with the first addict, and the next thing you know is that she's screaming bloody murder, dying and paying his rent, So that's what the shield is for. Well, now, if instead of that shield, and instead of that mushiness, you have this absolute alignment inside of yourself, knowing who you are, being completely connected to your own spirit. And your own spirit actually, is a common spirit. We share that soul, the universal soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that you said that. You said it so well that, when we do that, we come in alignment. And we're coming in line with our own spirit, the spirit of God, the spirit with our own spirit. We come in alignment with that. And that just gives us strength. That lets us know that we're on the right path. We're in the right place. So we no longer have to feel afraid because we're connected to source, connected to spirit. And spirit is guiding us and leading us on our way.
Exactly. And you're also showing up and your movement went up. And of course, yes, part of that spirit is up. It's in the cosmos. But the feminine spirit is also rooted deeply in the body itself. So when we're also connected to our own sexuality, for example, to our own nature, as I said before, that is the feminine spirit. There is a lot of power there. When a woman is connected to her own spirit and to nature, it's going to take a hell of a man to get her off that track.
Absolutely. And that is why often some women who are powerful, who are strong, who are successful, and they have this shield, as you say, up, not realizing and not being willing to open up for fear of being hurt. But what I'm loving about what you're saying is that there's that feminine power that's on the inside. And because you have that feminine power and because you are connected with the source and the line, it is okay to release that shield. It is okay to
Exactly.
open up because now when you open up, you open up in power,
Exactly.
not
Exactly.
overpowering anyone else, not controlling anyone else, but the power that will cause those two reactions to come together and create some powerful beings.
And that's when you can afford showing up in an extremely feminine way.
Yes,
Then
yes.
you don't have to reject anyone with force. Then you don't have to say no in a way that is going to hurt people. You can say no with love. You can set a boundary elegantly with love. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can stop playing any kind of games that many dating coaches recommend, appearing unavailable. You don't need that
Yes,
anymore. You
yes,
are available to yourself first, and it's going to radiate. You don't need any of that. And at the same time, this is when you're really available for true connection without agenda, without constant worry about the future, without regrets of the past. That's when you can really come into a contact with the soul of pretty much any man if you want to, and charm
mm-hmm.
him if you want to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So,
Would you share with us about your online program? Tell us about the online program you have and how that helps us in this situation.
mm-hmm.
The course that you have, would you share that with us, with our audience, and talk about that and how we might be able to benefit from that?
Yeah, sure. So the program is a 3-month program where we gather just like you and me right now on Zoom, but there are more people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's very intense. As you can see, I'm very intense. So the program is incredibly intense.
That's what I love about you.
Thank you.
I love that. I love that intensity,
Yeah.
but loving and caring.
Oh, of course, of course, of course, of course. I remember my mission, how I started and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I remember my why.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So we gather, and there is a sequence of 12 gateways, and at each gateway we release more and more of what's not serving, and we learn more and more that makes us irresistible magnetic women. So
Mm.
the first part of the program, there are 3 parts. The first part is specifically about healing that love blueprint. So in the beginning of the first part, women fill out a questionnaire which
Mm-hmm.
gives them an assessment how the love blueprint is it relationship fit? Are you relationship fit, and to which extent? And then at the end of the first month, after meditations, coaching sessions, hot seat sessions, they fill it out again, and then we see their progress. Oh,
Wow.
absolutely. It's very scientific. I come from a family of scientists, so to me, numbers are my friend.
I
So
love that.
yeah.
I love that being able to see how you started and also to see where you are at that second month. Go on. Hmm.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So usually what happens is that the woman stops being attracted to the kind of guys she used to be attracted to at the end of the first month. Naturally.
Hmm.
Because you know why? Because she falls in love with herself.
Ah, wonderful. Yes. And so therefore, she's not going to tolerate things that's going to cause her not to be in that space of loving herself.
Yeah, it's just not appealing.
Exactly.
It's just like, yeah, the other way. Go to that corridor. It just doesn't even compute. You know? It's kind of like when a person starts eating healthy and exercising and feeling great about themselves and their body and they see a donut,
Yes.
they just don't want it anymore.
Exactly. They're not attracted. They're not
No.
tempted by it because it's no, they don't want it. Right.
Yeah, because that donut, that man, that experience is just a band-aid, you
That
know?
donut, that man, that experience. Love it. Love it. Love it. And then the third part is
Second
tell us.
part. Let's talk about second part. So second part is great fun. It's a beautiful, beautiful part. That's when every woman gets to unleash her unique feminine magnetism. And each one has her own beauty. Each one has her own talent, and each one can leverage on that talent and build it out even more. So this is where she shows up in her goddess. This is where she really, really starts to honor the creative part of herself, the attraction, the special ways how her body moves. So basically, she just really gets in touch with her feminine source, with her feminine power. And we do that also through a series of exercises, meditations, and sensual dance, which movement is incredibly important in this practice. And so there are several elements. One is voice, releasing the true voice, releasing your body into the natural movement, loving your hips because they are strong and, you know, they were carrying you on earth for a really long time, loving your belly no matter how big it might seem just because you're a goddess. Yeah, and that belly, that womb is protecting you, and we connect through our womb and we cleanse our womb from past experiences that were left there by ignorant lovers. Yeah, this is very, very important because um, yeah. So when a man, like, look, when a man makes love, what he does, he brings in his energy and then he takes it out and he goes. But it stays in a woman. Woman is a receptacle.
Wow.
Yeah, so all those memories, all of that is stored in the womb. So that results in loss of sexual desire, lack of ability to have a full body or just vaginal orgasm, and it results in the woman forgetting her pleasure.
Oh, wow.
So during the second stage, we really, really get into that pleasure. We open the senses, which are dulled by this society, which are dulled by having to go to the office, maybe stay in a traffic jam for an hour or go into some kind of public transportation. They're also dulled by fear of survival because so many people, even if they're successful, still have that very basic root chakra fear that they're not going to survive. So that fear alone is something that disconnects us from the beauty of existence, of creation.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we're born, a newborn is very sensitive, very receptive to sounds, to sights, to food. For example, a child, if they try a beer, they know it's horrible. You know, they want ice cream because it's sweet and nice and good. But an adult whose senses are dull, all blocked, you know, then it's okay for them. They want something hot and spicy and something that's going to really, really make a big impact. Otherwise, they can't feel anything.
This is really something. I had no idea how deeply. I know your programs are excellent, but I had no idea how deep you go into people expressing themselves on all the different levels. Yeah, and then is there the third part of it as well? Another part with that, or did we go through?
Yes, and then there is the third part. And the third part is about dating smarter, not harder. And what that means is that there are strategies, and I use 3 strategies. One of them is using your own network. Another one is a very specific online strategy, which I'll share a little bit more about. And the third one is actually creating hotspot maps of the city that you're at. And under, obviously, my guidance, identifying the kind of places where real men hang out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
because
It looks like you have covered so many areas, Luba. This is a substantial program that I think anyone, any place can benefit from. So I thank you so much for bringing that, putting it together, and making it available to our audience.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, the other thing I wanted, was there anything else you wanted to say about that, or did we
No,
complete
no, no.
that?
I think the program is covered. Yeah, there was just one thing that I wanted to say about the soulmate magnet profile that I've
Okay.
created. So, and this is a message to women right now. This is something that I want to alert everyone towards. A lot of
Okay.
women in their profile write that I am a giving, loving, caring woman. Okay, so stop that. that is not bringing you any good giving men. This is bringing you users. This is bringing you men who are going to take you for granted. And it is not going to activate anyone to chase you.
Mm.
When a man reads something like, I'm a loving, caring woman, loving towards what? Loving what? On all conditions? I
To
haven't
be
even,
taken advantage of?
as a, well, the way a man thinks is like, oh my God, I didn't do anything yet. She's already loving. Does it make sense?
Wow. Yes, that's why I express like this. Wow. You're telling your love, have I even earned it? Have I done anything? Do I even recognize it? Do I even appreciate it?
Exactly. So a man appreciates something that he's invested himself into, that he sacrificed for, that he earned. So the
Yes.
profile that we create specifically features a high feminine value, which which is something that I also teach how to lead with high feminine value in all correspondence with men, including texting, including dating, actual first date, second date, commitment. And I teach how to identify. This is very important. A lot of women don't know how to identify if a man is actually a marriage material. So this is something which is a cornerstone of Magnetic Woman program. So when women are on my watch, they're safe. This is my
Yes.
priority. Emotional
Well,
safety of my clients. Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing that you have a created a sacred space for women to come and be taken care of all the way around to not have any fears or any apprehensions about that because you are really there to guide them. And I really appreciate that in you, Luba. I really do. You did mention a gift that we have for the audience.
Yeah.
Would you tell us about your gift? But before you do, though, I always love to stop and address the audience and let them know that our intention of us being here together, we're sharing information. We're saying thoughts that will help you on your way, help you to become a better version of who you are. So I will say to the audience, please look at this and listen to this with the idea of what can I take away from today, right now? What has been said, what has been shared that I can take away today and utilize it in my life right now to move me further on my journey of loving myself. So please do that. And then we'll have Luba share with us about her gift for the audience.
Excellent. Okay. So I actually have a couple of gifts. One gift is 13 text messages, which I,
13 text messages.
yes.
Okay.
And
Tell us
it,
about
well, yeah, and it's on the domain, which is www.13texts.com. So,
okay, we
yeah,
will have a link for that as well. Thank you. We will have a link for that.
excellent. So, yeah, those are the messages which are carefully crafted in order to inspire a man to basically go after you, even if he was missing in action, even if he was sending mixed signals, and even if you haven't heard from him for a while. So, but that is, of course, just the tip of the iceberg of my very rich teaching and insight, but you're going to get a taste of what is possible. And I think you're going to love those messages like everyone else does, like many of my clients do.
And they'll get a good flavor of what you're about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then there is another gift, which is something you can just find on YouTube. It is my meditation, which is called Attract Love. So you just Google Attract Love by Luba Evans. And it's a 40 minutes deep immersion, which if you listen to it for 40 days, it's going to change your life.
Oh, Luba, that is so generous. Thank you so much. A
Sure.
30-minute meditation that if you listen to it, it will change your life.
For
It is
sure.
wonderful.
And
So
you
thank
can, yeah, you can even listen to it when you're sleeping. It's going to work anyway. So it's changed so many lives. It is very, very powerful, and definitely you're going to experience effects of this meditation right away. You,
I'm looking forward to that for me.
yeah, you should definitely listen. You're going to feel more radiant. You're going to feel how more men are paying attention to you. You're going to feel more juicy in your body. You're going to really start owning it. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. This has been such a wonderful interview. You have shared so much. You have given so many gifts, and we are so happy for that.
Thank you.
Before we actually leave and up this interview, you let us know, is there anything else that you would like to leave the audience with? before we actually close the interview?
Yeah. My last message is this. Own your worth and don't forget that the main power that we have as human beings is the power of love. And that includes
Yes.
you. That includes
Yes.
love towards yourself.
Yes. The
Yeah.
power of love. That is the most important um, skill, that ability, that power of love, loving ourselves first. And as we love ourselves and become lovable, we create and generate and attract love in our life and love in the world, impact in the world. Luba, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A big hug to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming here and helping us and sharing all. We look forward to hearing more about you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.